Dave Reinhardt, and welcome back to another installment of Ukulele 101. You'll remember from our first lesson that I told you this time we'd be learning 2 new songs in 2 keys. Well, guess what? We recorded that lesson, and then my executive producer stepped in and said, Dave, this is Ukulele 101, and you just jumped right to lesson 100. Well, after we looked at it, we agreed she was right. And so we are going to learn a new song today, and we are going to learn a new chord, but we're going to keep more with the pace of Ukulele 101. Okay, so last week we talked a bit about tuning. We learned that the 4 strings of the ukulele are G, C, E, and A. Well, when you go to tune your ukulele, how do you know that that note is G? Well, there's a couple of ways. If you have a piano in your house or some sort of electronic keyboard, you can play the G note on that keyboard and then tune your G string until it matches, and then the same for the other strings as well. I like to use this little electronic tuner, and you can pick these up on Amazon or your local music store for somewhere in the vicinity of $20 to $30, and they help you zero in on the pitch almost perfectly, so much better than just tuning by ear. Another option that's free is actually if you have a smartphone or a tablet of some sort, just go to the store where you usually pick up apps for that device and do a search for ukulele tuner, and you're going to find more than you could ever use. And most of them are free, and they do a great job as well. Okay, so now that we're in tune, we're going to learn about chord diagrams. Chord diagrams help you to know where your fingers should be placed on the ukulele when you're playing any given chord. So here's an example of a chord diagram. Now this one would indicate no fingers. Now let's take a look at what we have there. You'll notice that it looks like the neck of your guitar. The bar across the top, the line across the top of the chord diagram, is the nut of your ukulele. That's where the strings cross over from the headstock onto the neck of the guitar. The rest of the horizontal lines in the chord diagram are the frets of your ukulele. And then the 4 vertical lines are the 4 strings. From left to right, it's your G string, your C string, your E string, and finally the A string. Okay? So let's take a look at what the chord diagram would look like for the C chord that we learned last week. It looks like this. And you can see we put a finger at the 3rd fret of the 4th string. And that's the chord diagram for the C chord. Okay, let's learn a new chord. And this week it's going to be F. F is a pretty simple chord to play. And here's the chord diagram. So what you want to do is put your middle finger at the 1st string, 2nd fret, and your index finger at the 3rd string, 1st fret, just as indicated on the chord diagram. And this is an F chord. So F and C. And those are the 2 chords that we're going to use in our song this week, which is London Bridge. Okay, we're going to start on the F chord this week. Last week we started on C. Now, just watch and listen to me play it once through so you can get a feel for how we're going to go, how the song's going to go, and how we're going to strum. And I'm just going to do it very simply with on-the-beat strumming with my thumb. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. So that was pretty simple, just back and forth between F and C. And you'll notice you can follow along with the chord diagrams, and you'll know which chord I'm playing at any given time. Let's play that again, and this time let's do it together, following along with the chord diagrams. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Very good. Now you remember last week we threw in a little extra credit and we learned a G7th chord. This, by the way, is the chord diagram for that G7th chord. We're not going to use that chord this week, but we're going to learn another 7th chord, and it's the C7th chord, which looks like this. You'll notice it's also a one-finger chord, just like the C chord. C, we use our ring finger at the 3rd fret. For C7th, we use our index finger at the 1st fret on the 4th string. And it sounds like that. Okay, now you'll remember with the G7th, we just threw it in at the very end just for a little bit of accent, and that's what we're going to do with the C7th chord. So listen to the very last part of the song and listen to where I change from the C chord to the C7th chord and finally finish on the F. My fair lady. Okay, so just those 2 beats. So 2 beats on C, 2 beats on C7, and we finish on the F chord. And it just adds a little bit of movement to make it sound a little nicer. You don't have to do that at all. Staying on that C chord the whole way to the end is perfectly fine, but let's do the whole song again from the beginning with the C7th at the end. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Great, so now you have another song to practice over the next week when we come back with a new lesson, a new song, and a new chord. Until then, have fun playing your ukulele.